Hi people, Moino Ravenberg here again. In this video, this is going to be another demonstrative video called, or not called, in relation to chart progressions and regressions again. I'm going to link in the end screen, I'm going to show you something in the end screen. I already covered this video, horary astrology and chart progressions and regressions. This is what the video looks like. I already covered horary astrology and chart progressions and regressions in this video, and I'm going to link this in the end screen so that you can watch it if you haven't already. Okay, in this video, I'm going to discuss a specific technique, and anyone is welcome to watch this. But obviously, people that have a specific keen interest in astrology or at the very least familiar and or knowledgeable on the subject matter from a basic perspective or point of view will, well, let's just say it's especially for those people. It will be of specific interest to those people. In layman's terms, in this video, I'm going to treat or discuss and go over, and last but not least, demonstrate how to cast a time-based or time-specific horary chart. This falls specifically under horary astrology, and you need to keep chart progressions and regressions in mind. So fast forwarding and rewinding a chart specifically. Um, Basic chart progressions and regressions already give away, it's called animating the chart, already gives away certain specific information, and it's applicable to natal astrology. And the base rule is that for natal charts, a day equals a year, and an hour equals half a month, so 15 days, and a minute equals 6 hours, so a quarter of a day during chart animation. So if you, for example, were born, I'm going to give you an example. Marino Ravenberg, my name, my thingy. Crap, yeah. Yeah, this is my own natal chart, of course. Ravenberg Marino, yeah. Yeah, this is my natal chart. This is the planetary constellation under which I was born. Animating the chart, specifically using this software, is this. This is called animating a chart. I can fast forward and rewind my chart, and that gives off information. This is called the basic chart progression and regression from a natal perspective, and I've already treated it in the previous video that's going to be linked to the end screen. If you haven't seen that, again, watch that if you're specifically interested in this subject or if it sparks your interest. Um, in that, I discussed specifically that this technique is not foolproof, okay? It has one drawback or one pivotal flaw, which is that the information is not applicable if you've moved at a certain point in your life, or it only applies for the portion of period of time that you stayed in one specific location. By one specific location, I mean one specific country or city specifically. So if you've just moved to a different city, it's not much of an issue. But if you've moved to a different country, then yeah, natal regressions and progressions are not going to apply. And they're specifically not going to apply the second you move to a different country. I stayed in my current location for the entirety of my life up to this point. I've moved up and down the country, but I've never, I mean, I have left the country, but only last year. And at the date of this recording, I am 34 and I turned 35 in September. So yeah, animations still apply to me, or natal regressions and progressions still apply to me up until last year when I went to went to Guyana. I went to Guyana specifically. Bottom line is when I went abroad. So yeah, so let's just say from the year zero, from the date of my birth all the way to my beginning 30s, things still apply, natal progressions and regressions. So the information that it gives away, aside from my natal chart, is is that it gives an overview specifically of what events took place from the date of my birth all the way up until the point where it doesn't apply. So when I moved abroad, so all the way up until last year. And this is the way a chart can be animated. One day equals a year. So from the date of my birth, which is 1985, this is 86, 87, 88, 89. 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 2000. And it just goes on and on and on. You can see slowly planets moving and whatnot. Okay, this pretty much, this technique gives away, this is basically like fast forwarding and or rewinding your life. You can see what situations transpired and how your life, specifically in relation to character traits and events, took place, and things that happened to you and or character traits that were either amplified or came into their own or became a bit detrimental. So they went into the background somewhat. Those kinds of that is the essence of chart animation, of chart progression and regression. This is just a short refresher so that people understand the concept behind this. That's what chart animation is. So the date that you're born, by default, your natal chart gives away what character traits that were bestowed upon you, so to speak, upon birth. And the planets reflect that. And chart animation, specifically progression and regressions, progression is fast forwarding, regression is rewinding, gives away exactly what happened to you in your life as every year or with every passing year. It's kind of like an astrological flip book, if you will, in which your life is displayed step by step, as in things that happened to you, whether you became more of a romantic kind of individual, whether you met up with someone, whether you were all about love, or whether you focus on studying specifically as a youngster. It just goes on, okay? That's the general information it gives away. Of course, the devil lies in the details, and if you want to specifically know what happened to you when you were, for example, 28, then you'd have to go over everything. But yeah, that's the gist of it regarding natal animations or chart animations for natal astrology. That's why this rule applies, okay? A day equals a year. I find it more to this point or extent. 1 hour equals half a month, so 15 days, and 1 minute equals 6 hours, a quarter of a day. Now I'm going to get to the actual topic at hand, which is time-based or time-specific chart progressions and regressions, and the time conversions or the time metrics that one needs to apply. Long story short, within horary astrology, which is suited for events specifically, if you want to know, hey, can I move into that neighborhood? Is it a good idea to move into that new house I've had my eye on? Etc. etc. That's what you cast horary charts for, and that horary chart will tell you, for example, that it's not a good idea to move into that neighborhood because your neighbors or the people living in that neighborhood have a tendency to be violent, or you're not going to get along well with them due to personality conflicts. You're more laid back and they're more strung out. It just goes on. That's the practical value of horary astrology. But there are situations and or times where you ask time related horary questions. For example, when will I get that new car? Or for example, I ordered the car online. Just a simple example. When am I going to get it? Because I'm unsure of myself. Blah 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 blah, etc. 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 It just goes on. And I've given two examples here, taken from my own personal life. I'm going to go over the first example. Okay. In this is a chart that denotes the first example. Someone by the name of Atavan. Simple example. The question speaks for itself. When will Atavan's 999 CHF stands for money, Swiss francs, arrive in my bank account? And then you see the date, the time, and the location at which I asked the question, as always, etc. And by default rules, since the ascendant is ruled by Leo, I am represented by the sun, which is 21 degrees in Cancer. And in this question, basically, I wanted to know. This was over a week ago. Someone sent me money. This specific individual by the name of Atavan sent me money from his bank account to my own. So it was a bank wire, an international bank transfer from his bank to mine. And he sent it on July the 13th. And I wanted to know when I can expect it in my bank account. Can I specifically expect it to actually hit my bank account? And yeah, I cast this chart. Now, the basic rules that you need to keep in mind within the context of this chart, just to make it as simple as possible, don't pay attention to anything else with the exception of the things I show you. This is just for convenience's sake. Like I said, I'm represented by the sun. I'm here in the 12th house, 21 degrees in Cancer. The bank, specifically my bank, is represented by the 10th house because I'm reliant and or dependent on my bank, provided that everything went as planned, that nothing's wrong with my sender's bank and so on, which you generally speaking can safely assume. So I'm reliant and or dependent on my bank because my bank needs to process the payment to the point where it becomes visible in my account. Yeah, so my bank is represented by the 10th house, and you can already see, that everything fits together because the midheaven, which rules the 10th house, is ruled by Venus, specifically the zodiac sign Leo. And, sorry, the zodiac sign Taurus. And yeah, Taurus stands for money, for one. The main thing Taurus stands for is money, material possession. So yeah, the bank is reflected by the 10th house. And the part of fortune, which is a tremendous marker of success, is not aspected to me. By how much? 21 minus 13 equals 8. It's off by 2 degrees. A positive aspect, specifically a sextile, would be 6 degrees. So basically, it would have to be 6 degrees in order for success. So the money hitting my account, this amount to hit my personal bank account, it would have to be 6 degrees. That's what my aspect to the part of fortune would have to be within the context of this question. And this is where chart progression and or yeah, this is where chart progression, regression, or overall chart animation comes into play. Okay, within the context of this question, the rule that you need to keep in mind is that for horary events or charts, the time format to be used for calculations is dependent on the context of the questions in terms of time frame. So, simply put, it all depends on the context of your question. Within the context of this question, I already knew that that it was going to take that it was only going to be a matter of days. End of story. It can take a day, 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, a week at longest. But bottom line is the default time metric within the context of this question is days. So an actual day. So yeah, you need to keep that in mind, specifically so that you know exactly what time metric you need to use for chart animations. Okay, so we're going to animate this chart, and the point is that you need to animate it in such a way that it becomes, this is an event chart, so it's in real time. It's not a natal chart. So obviously, all of this stuff does not apply. One day does not equal a year. Obviously not. That would be ludicrous. Like I said, this is an horary chart, so it totally depends on the context of the question, what kind of time frame you need to use. Within this context, a day means an actual day, an hour means an actual hour, and a minute means an actual minute in general. So yeah, we need to get a sextile here between me, which is represented by the sun, and this part of fortune symbol. So yeah, we're going to animate the chart and you'll see for yourself, okay? Listen, this is one day, and you animate the chart by one day, you fast forward one day, July the 13th, going to July the 14th, bam. And there you go, we have our sextile, see? The part of fortune is 25 degrees in Taurus, thereby making it a sextile with a differential of 2 degrees, 2.5 degrees approximately. That's called an orb within astrology as an astrological phrase or lingo. So yeah, now you can see I'm positively aspected. So this would mean this aspect would mean success, as in, hey, I need to get my money. End of story. The money should be in my account, or it should be in my account when the next business day begins. And that was indeed the case, proving that it works. Okay, the money was sent to me on July the 14th, and I'm going to show you. The date the money was sent was July the 14th at 7:56 my local time. Um, and the estimated time arrival or ETA for the arrival of the money, so when the money hit my account, was the 15th of July, 8:25. Okay, when the third business day of the week began. When all of this took place, it was on a Monday that the money was sent to me. This was last week, Monday the 13th. So money was sent to me Monday before the business day started. So before the bank, both banks, both my sender's bank as well as my thingy bank started working, or when everything was midday, not even midday, at the beginning of the working day. Let's just put it like that. So yeah, bottom line is that it still counts as a full working day, and I got it 2. See? Not including this day. So it basically took one working day before I got my money. Money was sent to me on Monday the 13th. I received it before the working day started on Wednesday the 15th. So in the morning time. So yeah, it took one full business day, which was Tuesday. If you want to include Monday the 13th, then it's 2 full business days. So you can say 2 full business days, including the day at which the money was specifically sent to me. And that's where this comes into play. See what I'm talking about? This counts. The first day is already included as a business day, so you don't need to calculate that. If you fast forward it by one day, boom, then yes, sextile D part of fortune, and that stands for success. Okay, so that means it takes 2 business days. So all of this is correct. So within the context of this question, it simply means that I'm going to get my money on either the end of Tuesday, or I was set to get my money either at the end of Tuesday, so the 14th, or in the beginning of the next working day, which was Wednesday, which happened. Okay, Wednesday wasn't included, so money was sent to me 13. Okay, it took 2 days to process, including the 13th, and boom, I got it on Wednesday before the working day began, or just when the working day was getting up and running for the establishment which I am specifically reliant upon, so the bank. So yeah, there you go. That is how you calculate a specific horary, an horary chart for a time-related or time-sensitive question. So yeah, that's it. Let me just give you guys a brief moment to take it all in, so to speak. And yeah, now on to example 2. Okay, example 2, I'm going to give 2 examples. I made an appointment, or I had a date or appointment scheduled or set with someone today, and the person called me, told me that he is on his way, and I wanted to know when he was going to get here, because I did specifically, for personal reasons, I needed to know for personal reasons when the person was going to get here. In the context of this question, the person's already driving. The person's calling me, telling me, "Hey, listen, I'm leaving home now, or I just left home. I'm coming to you right now." The person wasn't aware of my address. The person didn't know my address. So this is the time metric, the appropriate time metric to use for the context of this question, or based on the context of this question, is hours. Okay, because it's not going to take the person days to get at your address now. Like I said, you need to look at the context of the question that you're asking. I, for example, am 50 kilometers away from this person, this individual. Even if you were to include traffic, it would definitely not take days. It wouldn't even take a day, let alone days. So obviously, the time metric that you need to apply and or use is hours. Okay, you need to use hours in order to calculate all of this. So yeah, you need to use hours. So the correct time metric to use here, again, like I said, it's all dependent on the context of the question, is hours. So yeah, this person was on their way to my house, okay, and the time I cast the chart was today, or well, July the 21st, Tuesday in any case, 3:51 p.m., so 9 minutes to 4 in the afternoon. And the person, okay, now you don't even have to pay attention to me. I'm being represented by Jupiter because the ascendant is in Sagittarius. What's important is your opposing party, which is the person with whom I made the agreement and or appointment to show up at my house. It's represented by Mercury because the descendant is ruled by Gemini, and Mercury rules Gemini. So yeah, the person is Mercury. It's represented by Mercury. We're going to animate this chart. Okay, these are simply the person's initials, LT, the way I call, the idiom that the person goes by, or the initials that the person goes by. So yeah, we're just going to use LT. I'm just going to use LT from this point on. So yeah, what needs to happen here is that there needs to be a perfect opposition. The person needs to be completely opposed to me, and I need to be opposed to that person. Because this opposition, if it comes to an opposition, in reality, it's a conjunction. It's not an opposition. It's not a true opposition. It's a conjunction. Bottom line is, when the both of us are completely square one another, as in we're opposed to each other, completely opposed to one another, that is the time frame, or that is the exact time, more or less, in which he'll appear at my house, in which he'll show up. So we're going to use hours here Okay, I need to use hour. See, 1 hour. Um, and if you use 1 hour from this point on, 351, boom, 451. And there you go. See, the person is here, 9 degrees in Cancer. I'm here, 21 degrees in Capricorn, conjunct the part of fortune. And both of us are exactly 9 degrees removed from our respective ascendant and descendants. So within the context of this question, it simply means that the person is going to show up within an hour. So the person is going to show up at this time, appointed time, 4:51 p.m. I cast the chart an hour ago, exactly an hour ago, 3:51 p.m. And the person is set to show up according to the chart at 4:51 p.m. And what happened? The person showed up exactly at that time. Around 4:52, the person called me and the person told me, um, I'm seeing a house right now. I'm standing in front of a house, but it turned out to be my neighbor's house. And I told him, no, 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 no. I'm the second house to the right. You stop at the first house to the right. I'm at the second house. And he was like, okay. So yeah, I still have the WhatsApp voice call that he called me to confirm the time. So yeah, all of this was correct. All of this. Okay. So yeah, there you go. The appointment that I had with that person actually came through. The time at which I cast the chart is 3:51, and with animations, it's exactly an hour. And yeah, I have the WhatsApp thingy, the WhatsApp voice call. Let me just double check. Yes, the person called me today. LT called you through WhatsApp 4:54 p.m. That was because he was already standing in front of my house, but you need to factor in a minute or two for a minute or two or three for the brief minute that it took him to call me and to communicate up and down to the point where I told him, yeah, I see your car. Okay, you can come into the driveway. All of that took a couple of minutes, of course, but you can safely assume that this time is correct. So there you go. You can see for yourself, this is how to calculate a specific time related horary chart or a time sensitive horary chart by making use of chart animations. Other simple examples I can give are, for example, if you want to know if you've got an appointment with a realtor, you're selling your house and you want to know exactly a real estate agent and you want to know exactly when the guy will appear because for personal reasons, you're in a ridiculous hurry. It's similar to a life and death situation for you, so you need to absolutely know when the guy will appear. You already know that the guy is on the way, but you need to know, you have no idea where the guy is leaving from, so you just know that he's in the same state as you if you live in the US, for example. So you need to know when the guy will appear. You're assuming that it's going to be a couple of hours, but there could be delays and you have no idea what the guy is doing. So yeah, in that case, you can cast a chart then so that you have an idea on when the guy will show up. And based on the chart and the time metric that you need to use, which is applicable, of course, based on the situation and or the context of the question, you'll be able to calculate easily, relatively speaking, as long as you're adept at astrology or you are at the very least familiar with the basics. Based on my guidelines, you'll be able to calculate everything and in, let's just say, a matter of 5 minutes to 10 minutes so that you'll know when the person will appear. You can make preparations, you know, that, hey, based on my calculations, the person is going to appear in 2 hours. It's 4 p.m. right now. Um, I haven't. He's going to show up at 6 p.m. Okay, and that way I know you know exactly what you can do if you want to leave the house briefly, or if you want to come back, or if you want to, or if you need to make specific preparations for the house so that it's viewable to the realtor. You name it, whatever you need to do in your personal life. Bottom line is, it's always good to know stuff like this, and it's definitely worth the effort and the trouble once you already know how to do stuff like this. So there you go. That's it. I'll see you guys later, and I'll hear it if there are any questions in the comment section. Bye bye.